In this session, I'll be discussing or going through some practical, it will be quite small, illustrating to you how you can calculate some of the descriptive statistics using Excel. Here I have a data set for cancer information. It has the patient IDs, and these IDs are must for the privacy of the patients. It then has a diagnosis as to whether the tumor that is being assessed is malignant or benign. And this assessment is based on these other variables like the radius mean, the texture, and so on. So these other continuous variables. Diagnosis in this case being a categorical variable. All right. So some of the descriptive statistics we spoke about are the central tendencies, and then we also talked about the variability descriptive statistics. Okay, so within Excel, one could decide to put their new results in another sheet. So I could click the positive end here, which allows me to create a new sheet. This sheet I can then right-click on and have renamed. And perhaps in here I am carrying out the central tendency descriptive statistics, right, for the different variables. All right. So in here, for instance, I want the mean of variables. So this mean or average will have to be carried out for each of the variables one at a time. It cannot be done for the entire totality of all the variables, otherwise you are returning a false result. So let's say I'm looking at the mean for the concavity, okay? So these are the values for concavity. That's what I'm looking at. I go into my new sheet, concavity underscore SE. And in here, in this cell, I put the equals to sign, allowing me to write in a formula or carry out a calculation. Notice that it also appears within this section where we have the different formulae. Okay, this can drop down several formulae, including the means, the sums, and so on. But we can also write it within the cell where we want the result. So I'm going to say average. And then to select, okay, I go back to the previous worksheet and select just these values that I'm interested in, scroll through them all the way down to the end of that column. And then you notice that formula is being written here. I then close the brackets because we already have a bracket here at the front and click enter. So my result appears in the cell in the new worksheet, and it is letting me know that the mean of this particular variable is 0.03189. What of its median? Okay. Again, I could run that as equal to sign, median, and again go through and select the particular variable from top to bottom in the same manner that I had done the other. Okay, so go ahead and drag. And that could give me, close the bracket, and that gives me the result of the median. Notice our mean and median are a bit of a distance away from each other, so that does tell us certain things about the spread of this particular variable. Okay, so you can read up more on that aspect. If, for instance, we do not want to go through this very long approach of just calculating the mean and median for each individual variable, We can go back to the worksheet that has our data set. I'm going to scroll to the top. Look through our menu. There is a menu here that says data. And to the right hand side of it, there are different data analysis tools. So ensure that your analysis tool pack is selected, as it happens to be an add-in. Then you will notice you have a menu here for data analysis. Here in the data analysis, we can run different types of data. If you scroll through these for exponential smoothing, this for generating histograms, regression, different analyses that we will learn as we go along the way. But for right now, we're interested in the descriptive statistics. Okay, so I'll click OK, and it generates for me a menu over here wherein it's asking me the input range, or which data do I want to use to calculate the descriptive statistics. Let's say I only want to work with the continuous variables. Okay, I could go from the radius mean, select these all the way down and to the end of all these variables. Okay, just winnowing it down in there. And thereabouts, okay? So once I have that selected, I go back to the menu. It's now asking me, these are grouped how? How would you like the descriptive statistics to be generated? If I select rows, it will generate for me descriptive statistics in the row aspect, okay, across rows. But I want it to be across columns or for each individual variable. I then also let Excel know that the labels in the first row are the names of the variables. If I do not select this, it will see those as values, and then it will have an error in calculating my descriptive statistics. So where do I want the output of these results? Firstly, I want it in a new worksheet. I can call that new worksheet anything, maybe worksheet stats, okay? Or I can even put it in a new workbook. It is up to you what you prefer to have it as, okay? I then ensure that I'm having these as descriptive or summary statistics. I can even have them to a particular confidence level. Here, the default that is selected is 95%. These summary statistics would have the central tendencies and the variability statistics. So we can then go and click the OK option. This now generates our new worksheet, worksheet stats, which has our descriptive statistics. And we can notice at the top, I'll just expand this. At the top here, we have the names of the variables in question. And attached to them, across the rows, we have the particular results. So for instance, for the radius mean or radius underscore mean, we have its mean value as 14.12. For the texture mean, its mean value is that. We also have a standard error. We will discuss what standard error is when we look at the different types of sampling errors and statistical errors we can generate. The medians have also been generated for each of these variables, the mode, the standard deviation, the sample variance. So remember last time we talked about you can have different types of variance, either population variance or a sample variance. In this case, it has selected or calculated a sample variance. Kurtosis is also another statistic that we use in variability, and we will discuss it further. There's also skewness, range, minimum, maximum, the summation, and some of the counts, okay? So that's an easier way to generate these descriptive statistics without going step by step.